all good. Hey everyone, I'm here with my friend Al in his 2014 Viper GTS. You may remember Al, he had a GT4. We did a back-to-back drive with my Evora and his GT4. So Al, why did you trade the GT4 for this Viper?
I always wanted a V10 car and a V10 manual, and there's not that many options for those anymore. And this fit the bill. I mean, I've always liked the shape, and it always just kind of stood out. It had that kind of wow factor. So I found one for a decent price, and I went ahead and purchased it.
Very cool. So this has a 8.4 liter V10, 640 horsepower, 600 pound-feet of torque. Look at the wheels on this. So this has a 355 wide rear tire on a 13-inch wide wheel. The front is a 295, which is as wide as the rear tires on most cars, most sports cars. So this thing is crazy aggressive. I think it's very special looking. I've known Al since college. The Viper is a car that I've always seen him in, so it's cool that he has one. Got the side exit exhaust. Yeah, this thing is a beast. Double wishbone suspension, hydraulic steering. Yeah, this is an amazing machine. I haven't driven it yet, but Al was following me when I was driving my car earlier. This thing looks menacing on the road. It's so wide. A lot of carbon fiber on this car. It has Al has ACR parts on it. The canards. Got a carbon fiber hood. And check out that engine. 8.4 liter V10. This thing is a beast. Check out how big that hood is. It's a carbon fiber hood. What a machine. You can see the suspension there. All these vents are open and functional. That's what I loved about my Evora. This car also has a carbon fiber hatch. Trunk space is actually surprisingly large here. I think this is fairly practical. You can actually fit a pizza back here if you really wanted to. There are some cars that, like my Evora, where that's actually difficult. And it has a very wide opening to fit a golf bag in there. Right?
Yep.
Damn, what a neat car. Let's take a look at the back. The diffuser, and take a look at that wide tire again. This wide sill. You have any problems getting in the car, Al?
No, it's actually easier than my GT4. Although it's a wide sill, the seat allows for easy ingress, egress. I think the biggest thing that made it easier was the GT4 buckets had such a high sill.
Yeah, I still have trouble getting into the Porsche buckets. Cool pedals. And you have a riser, right, on your
electronically adjustable pedals.
Ah, cool. Nice. I've always liked the interiors of these cars. First time getting so close to one. Nice. You have any? Nice.
I'm gonna keep doing it.
It's a cool side opening. Yeah, one more time.
That was 3. I'll go higher.
Nice. Can you step on the brake pedal? Let's show Sneaky Pete. So you see the Viper here lights up. And what a unique car. Very cool. You have any problems with your leg touching the exhaust?
Yeah, it actually has a very nice sticker that tells you to not touch it.
I guess with the angle, I could see you have a little bit of protection there.
When you have shorts, you can actually burn yourself. I did it once already. So even though they say the heat management on this one is a lot better than the first 4 generations, it still gets pretty hot. You won't get a 2nd or 3rd degree burn, but if you leave it there long enough, you'll pretty much get a 1st degree burn.
Gotcha.
That's not even touching the exhaust tip, that's just touching the sill.
Wow, so enter and exit with caution. All right, let's go for a drive. First time driving a Viper. It's interesting. Yeah, the pedal placement is very far to the left. I think because the center console is so wide. So I have to make sure I step on the right pedal. When I first got in this car, I wanted to step on the brake as the clutch. It says a 6,200 RPM redline, 6,250. All right, so I think we just burned a gallon of gas idling. So it's 12 miles per gallon. City, 15 highway. All right, there's a twin dish clutch. Al just warned me about it. So first time driving this car, I drove my PDK 911 here. So yeah, don't have to do a weird transition where I burned out one of our clutches. Wow, this hood is huge. Very cool. Do you think the gearing on this car is short or tall?
The gearing on this car is super tall and appropriately tall.
Oh, yeah.
For reference, when we talked about the GT4, second gear will go up to 77 or 78 miles per hour. Second gear in this car will go to 89 miles per hour.
Wow, okay. All right, brakes are grabby. All right. Wow, sounds are very mechanical. Clutch pedal feels good. Oh, it's not weird for me. It was actually pretty, I don't know, intuitive. I recently drove a Boxster Spider 718 with a clutch I could not get used to the entire test drive. And I've driven 718 GT4 and the 981, but for some reason that car was just odd. Is there a sport mode on this car?
No.
Okay.
That's it.
So, because the throttle tip-in was pretty, I mean, it's not aggressive. And I guess that's probably just is this drive-by-wire or drive-by-cable?
It's drive-by-wire.
Okay, so that's just maybe the way they program it. Yeah, it's not crazy down low by any means. The visibility is decent throughout the back. It's actually better than my Evora.
What do you think about the forward visibility?
It's small here. It is, and I see the glass looks a little bit distorted to me.
Yeah, it has the fishbowl effect because it's so curved. At nighttime, it's takes some getting used to, we'll say.
Yeah, talking about progressive glasses before, I feel like that's what I'm seeing right now is kind of like the distortion from a progressive pair of eyeglasses. All right, so yeah, at idle, the car doesn't shake as much as I would have thought. So I guess it's, it's the engine mounts, because I was expecting more of a vibration to come through into the cabin. So I didn't feel that. Suspension, yeah, it's not jarring. It's certainly stiff.
So the GTS has a 2-mode electronically adjustable suspension. The regular SRT version didn't have that. We just put it into the stiffer mode if that makes a difference. We can go to the street if you want.
Okay.
Probably better for a road like this.
Yeah, I think the suspension, at least in that mode you were in, is stiffer than suspension on my Evora. With the twin disc clutch, would you expect to hear noise when idling?
It doesn't chatter. It's not like a lightweight flywheel.
Okay.
I do know there's definitely more vibration in the engine. There's like a little buzzing sound, which I'm not used to in my cars.
Yeah, I didn't hear a chatter. It's pretty smooth. This car is actually, yeah, surprisingly, it's raw, but not to an extreme. Because I'm not getting the vibrations or the noises I was anticipating. Like, I'm not hearing any gear lash like I do on my Evora. Like, what I'm hearing a lot of is the engine. So engine noise up front. I am hearing the exhaust from the side, which is to me, that's pretty unique. And the steering wheel is pretty thick. Nice feel. Shifter, I think the shifter is easier than my Evora. It's smoother. All right, I take that back about the clutch. Still not driving it right. All right, push it a little bit. Yeah. Oh, that sound up there is nice. And that is, wow, that's pretty intense.
Yeah, it's boomy.
Yeah.
What do you think about the power delivery? Was it what you would expect?
It's very linear. It's not scary. So 640 horsepower, I wasn't sure what to expect. I actually, yeah, but it's very, I felt it was very linear. Do you feel that way about the delivery?
Yeah, I was surprised at the delivery. I was expecting, well, I'll ask you, I guess we said it's linear. I was surprised that it likes to be wound out. I was expecting more power down low, honestly. Kind of similar to your tip-in comment. What I find, I guess still I'm getting used to, is that there's so much volume from the engine that I don't want it to be any louder, so I find myself in the wrong rev range for the power.
Yeah, I think the boominess is actually, is this a stock exhaust?
Yeah.
Wow, okay. That's pretty remarkable for a car to come from the factory that loud. Okay, yeah, I felt the power build there.
Yeah.
So I think I probably just stepped on it or accelerated from a different point. So the power certainly built. And that was what I would expect out of a car like this, where the power would build, as opposed to that first time I stepped on it, I felt like it was very just like linear, flat. That time I felt the power build.
Yeah, I find if I'm like giving it, even part throttle anywhere below 4,000, it's not. I was expecting what you feel at 4,500 at about 3,500. So I had to recalibrate my brain a little bit for that.
Oh, this thing's handling bumps really well. Actually, better than my 911. When PASM's on, it's way stiffer. But that car crashes a bit. Now, it's also lowered, so it could be, by reducing the suspension travel, by lowering it an inch, that kind of ruined the ride quality. Yeah, brakes are touchy for me. I think the initial bite is pretty high. So, I think if I were jumping in and out of cars, that would probably be very, very jerky.
Yeah, it was very lurchy for me for the first week.
Steering, I don't think is that loud. I don't feel like I'm getting a ton of noise like I do with my 997.
You mean road noise?
No, I'm sorry, feel.
Okay.
Feel. So, yeah, this is interesting. I don't know if it's maybe the tires are so wide, but what do you think of this steering relative to your GT4?
I prefer the GT4 steering, even though it was electric. I feel like I had pretty good feedback. I haven't explored the handling of this car that much, but I can't really get a good sense for it yet.
Yeah.
And I'm in, let's say, month 2 of ownership. In the GT4, within the first 20 minutes of driving it, I felt like I could take this to the track and run a pretty good hot lap, faster than my current car at the time. With this car, after driving it for even 2 months, I don't think I would want to take it to the track yet. it gives me a little bit of anxiety because it's very hard to drive this car smoothly. I feel like it can get unsettled if you're not careful.
Yeah. What do you think of the interior size compared to the GT4?
I think it definitely feels wider. It's definitely wider than your Evora. I don't feel like we're on top of each other. It feels comfortable for me.
This is a unique place. I feel like I'm very much to the left. It's probably, the wide center, and I mentioned the pedal placement where I'm very much to the left, and I feel like I'm looking at the A-pillar a lot. Do you find that?
I didn't really notice it as much. Like when I got into an M2, I was like, wow, I'm really sitting to the left. But I guess at the time I was in a Z4 and that felt straight. You mentioned you're pointing to the left. I've never sat in the passenger side and I feel weird now. It's actually pointing, it's a mirror, it's pointing to the right.
Gotcha.
So we're like at a Y almost, which is strange feeling. But I've gotten used to it so that my lower half of my body points one direction and my torso is straight, which is, I guess, a little bit unnatural. Yeah, what I would say is, coming from a GT4, the GT4 is a better car. There's definitely, I guess to quote Doug DeMuro, lots of quirks and features about this car.
Yeah, I think this car has character, and the experience. To me, this is a very unique experience. I guess that's the the quirks of it. But I mean, the sound of the car. This V10 is definitely unique. It's like nothing I've heard before. It's just a different type of engine. So don't hear the V8. It's cool. That's the type of attention you get. And I know it's not shown on camera, but there's someone filming the car outside. That's one of the cool things about owning a car like this.
So what you did there, you kind of rolled on it maybe about like 2,700 to about like 4.
Yep.
When I first drove the car, I was like, is this car down on power? I was expecting more with such a big on paper number.
Yes.
And then I realized the power is like beyond 4. It actually likes to be revved out. I wish this car revved all the way to, let's say, 7. That would be great. But I guess it's also a factor of the cars I've had in the past and how they've revved out. Like every car I've had in the past has always revved to at least 7.
Yeah, this car is actually easier to drive than I'd anticipated. I think part of it is the power delivery. That it is not. It's very easy to control. Like I'm not feeling, at least the way I'm driving. Obviously, I'm not really pushing the car. But it's not like the tires are just breaking loose.
So put it in second gear, and then drive around like 3,500 to 4,000, and then you can like romp on it. So like romp on it from there. That's what I was expecting.
Yeah, gotcha.
About 1,000 RPM earlier. Sorry for yelling at you. It just gets insanely loud in here.
No, I didn't feel that.
It's boomy.
Yeah, it's definitely boomy. I mean, to the point where it's almost. When we were on the highway before, it's almost uncomfortable.
Yeah, so it's boomy. So like the problem I find it causes is that I think I'm at a higher RPM than I actually am.
Gotcha.
And then therefore I'm like giving it part throttle, thinking like, oh, I'm gonna get like all the power, but it's actually not there.
Yeah, you have to recalibrate to a V10. It's a different type of engine sound.
Yeah, honestly, I think if the car was just quieter and not boomy, I probably wouldn't have enough thought that. So I think that like, oh, I should be a little bit lower rev range than I actually am.
Where do you go from here, having a car like this? I think, so I went to a Porsche driving experience, drove the latest 911. I mean, this is way rawer than that. And yeah, I mean the sound in here and just the feel of the car, the pedals, like just how special this is and how unique this is. I feel like where do you go from here?
It's actually like very interesting. Like when I was a younger man, let's just say, it was always, oh, I'm gonna get the next extreme car, keep building from like a more pedestrian car to a sports car to, let's say, an M version to a dedicated sports car to something more like a GT3 level GT car. I don't think I would go more extreme than this anymore. It's just getting to the point where it's not practical. A second gear that tops out at 89 miles per hour is not that much fun to drive on a back road, where the GT4 is like, even though that has tall gears, rolling through the gears is fun. Hearing it go to red line is fun. This is best suited on I would guess, a road course.
Yeah. To me, this is a keeper as far as like a time in automotive history. I mean, you're not going to get a car like this anymore.
Yeah, there are no more V10 manuals.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a special car. All right. Well, we have a little bit of a drive to get back. Al, thank you for sharing your car with me and showing us your car. This is my first Viper experience. This is really just a cool place to be. So thank you for that. And thank you everyone for watching. Thank you for the support. If you have any questions or comments, love to hear them in the comment section. All right, bye for now.